When you come to Kvarner, treat yourself to an experience you will remember. Enjoy the luxurious ambience. Experience superior service. Indulge in endless pleasures. The pearl of the tourism offer in the pearl of the Adriatic. Liburnia, Hotels and Villas.
So then it is Saturday at the NASCAR GP Croatia at the Automotodrom Grobnik. It is the title deciding weekend, double points on the line in the season finale weekend. And it is very much all to play for, with three drivers within the top three in the championship, or three drivers within 10 points at the sharp end of the championship. And of course, the Automotodrom Grobnik, a stellar place to decide a championship, a wonderful circuit that we've been enjoying already in qualifying. The challenges of the circuit all too clear. In one instance, a bit too clear. One of the EuroNASCAR 2 guest starters, Hugo Sasser, having a big incident at turn 8 during the qualifying session. We are going to be running 15 minutes later than scheduled as a result of the damage to the Armco, among other things as well. Not just the damage to the Armco, of course, we got that repaired before we sent the cars back out for qualifying, but also the knock-on effect that has then had with the delays. So we are going to be starting racing a bit later than anticipated. However, we have, of course, a great team on the ground here at Grobnik, including my colleague Andre Viegold, who'll be bringing us all of the news and views from down in the paddock as we go through this broadcast. But for now, just to remind you of the point situation in EuroNASCAR Pro, it is Alan Day at the sharp end of the championship, but not by much at all. He's 6 points clear of Gianmarco Ercole, and just 8 points back is Alexander Graf. But in qualifying today, we have potentially seen the table slightly turn away from Alexander Graf, who will be starting on the 8th row of the grid. He did not make it into the top 10 shootout earlier on. Alan Day is on pole position, and Gianmarco Ercole will be starting from 3rd on the grid. So our three primary championship contenders with mixed fortunes in qualifying. Nicolo Rocca, who sits 4th in the championship right now, he is 7th on the grid. We just saw Gianluca and Andre, the two media powerhouses of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, on screen for a moment there. And they, along with Reza and the rest of the team, doing a great job of keeping you updated, be it here on the live stream or indeed over on the EuroNASCAR.com website, where you can catch up with everything that has happened so far this morning. You see that we've got a rather special pace car in the form of a Chevrolet Corvette C3, a beautiful car if I've ever seen one. Of course, the C3 Corvette ran through the 70s into the early 80s before it was replaced by the C4. These days, Corvette producing the C8, the first of the mid-engined Chevrolet Corvettes, the first that can be purchased with a turbocharged engine. Of course, we've had supercharged Corvettes before, the ZR1s and such, bearing a supercharger. The first turbo Corvette in the form of the mid-engined C8. Great to see the throwback, though, of the Chevrolet Corvette C3 on the grid. It could be the 1981 IMSA grid. Just looking at that little isolated shot there of the C3 waiting for its cars to join it on the circuit, and they will do so soon. I'll remind you that this is the EuroNASCAR Pro grid that we are expecting. We have EuroNASCAR 2 later on today as well. The point standings, as we mentioned, on 277 points, it's Alan Day on pole position for today's race and in the championship lead. 6 points back is Ercole, 8 points back is Graf. As we mentioned, Nicolo Rocca in 4th, 21 points back, so he's certainly still in contention if he can get some good results. Same can be said for Giorgio Maggi. I think as we come out of the top 5, it becomes less likely. Martin Dubek down there in 6th place, ahead of Sebastian Blakemode, Frederic Gabillon, Roman Iannetta, Vittorio Garelli, who's coming on really strong in the closing stages of this season. He starts from the 2nd row. Giorgio Maggi, our junior trophy points leader, and Fabrizio Armetta, currently in the championship lead within the trophy standings, but by quite literally no gap at all. He is in a bit of an arms race with Massimilio Lanza for the trophy category. So then, just over half an hour before we go green, or rather before we tell these drivers to get their engines started, a little bit of extra respite to make sure the marshals, after an extended qualifying session, get the opportunity to get some food and water, get the opportunity to leave their marshal post and get ready for the afternoon's racing. So many facets and many understandable reasons as to why we have slightly put back today's first race. I believe we are going to try and be on schedule by the time we get to EuroNASCAR 2 later on this afternoon. And you see the cars filing their way towards the grid. Of course, the gathered masses will get the opportunity to be up close and personal with the stars of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. The drivers always very accessible and ready to converse with the fans. And many of them ready to go with picture cards to sign and things of that nature, and often the EuroNASCAR 2 drivers will also join them. And you see there Alan Day helmeted at the moment and in conversation with Gianluca Guiglia. And they will no doubt be discussing the potential of getting them on camera a little bit later on. Alan Day, of course, our championship leader, our pole sitter. We spoke to him after his pole position today. He said, you know what, I don't have time to be happy this weekend. He's aware that the championship battle is very, very close. And he's also aware of how quickly things can go from the top of the world to the bottom of the ditch in EuroNASCAR competition. He's had some misfortunes this year. Both he and Gianmarco Ercoli back at Brands Hatch, of course, got into each other, front on rear contact. It damaged both cars, and Alan Day was judged to be at fault. He ended up with a drive-through penalty that day, while Gianmarco Ercoli registered a non-finish. Ercoli also had misfortunes at Vallelunga. Realistically, he was an outsider for the championship coming into Zolder just because of the sheer level of misfortunes he had. But with the drop scores that came into effect at the end of the Zolder weekend, the 2 drop scores, and courtesy of a fabulous Zolder weekend for Ercoli, he now finds himself right up there at the sharp end of the championship, just 6 points removed from Alan Day. So Gianmarco Ercoli there in the 54 car will no doubt be pressing on. Keep an eye as well on row 3 of the grid. You see there Liam Hazemans with one of his best starting places so far in EuroNASCAR Pro. However, let's shortcut that point because we have Andre down on the grid.
Expecting?
Yeah, I mean, we were all year, getting there, improving. It was a good quali. I was missing a bit of pace, but anyway, P4 is good. We were all very close, so yeah, it will be a nice race. I love this track. Actually, I have 2 wins in NASCAR 2 and 2 second places in NASCAR Pro, so yeah, I have a good history in this track, in this circuit. Love the fans, love the place, and yeah, hopefully it will be a good race. I don't want to get in the battle, I will let them battle themselves. I don't want to be, the guy who interferes, so I will be obviously fair, but obviously I will try to get the podium or a win if it's possible, so I will not stay back. I mean, I will go for it, and then, but obviously respecting the others. So yeah, will be a good race hopefully, and let's go for it.
So I think letting them battle in the back and you just pull away and grab the win, this is the goal.
Well, let's see how the pace is, because the top 5 we are all very fast, yeah, but as I said, I will not interfere because I respect both drivers, so they have a good battle and have fun. So yeah, I will do my race and go for it, and we see how it goes.
Right, thank you so much. Grazie mille and have fun.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
So we just missed the start of that interview, I believe, but that was Vittorio Garelli talking about his form at this circuit, which has been remarkably good. He alluded to his second place runner-up results here in Pro and his wins previously in EuroNASCAR 2. The ex-AutoGP racer, the former single-seater star, Vittorio Garelli, who has been making his mark in EuroNASCAR for several years now. You see there, though, that Andre Viegold is already ready with our next driver. We'll go down to him in a second. He is just awaiting a conversation with Gianmarco Ercole, who, of course, is second in the championship.
Yes, second in the championship, and it's crunch time. Now it's all about the title. Come on. After qualifying, you had some time to think about what is the plan to beat Alonde.
So the plan is only one. I told you before race, yeah. So full attack. I don't have any strategy. I've only full attack because it's important for try to open the championship or no. So today and tomorrow is very, very important. I arrive always in front of you. So I am ready, and I don't doing a very good qualifying, but I am third, no last, so it's all open.
All right, then have fun and good luck, and see you maybe later in Victory Lane.
Maybe later in Victory Lane. Let's see if Gianmarco Ercole can make that prophecy come true from the second row of the grid. He's directly behind Alan Day. Those two have respect for each other, but we have seen them come to blows occasionally as well. I referenced the Brands Hatch incidents earlier on. But two drivers who are at the peak of their powers right now in EuroNASCAR, in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, and two drivers who we're looking forward to see at the sharp end. Another driver we're looking forward to seeing at the sharp end is down with Andre Viegold.
Yes, I'm here with Sebastian Blekemolen, one of our race winners in this season. You're not taking part in the championship battle, but I think ending the season with a good statement should be the goal, right?
Yeah, well, I had some problems and two did not finish in the beginning of the season, which cost me a lot of points, of course. But yeah, it was since Moss we did very well. So yeah, maybe gain some places, and I'm looking forward to this race. If you compare it to last year, it was raining like hell, and now it's nice and sunny. So look forward to it.
Is it also about having some fun at the end of the season and just enjoy the NASCAR racing at a fast track like this?
Well, I enjoy every race this season, but it's a difficult track. It's difficult to overtake, so probably we'll see some nice action on the track, and yeah, let's see if I can gain some places.
Right, thank you so much. Thank you all, and have fun.
Thank you.
Sebastian Blekemolen, who will start from row 3 of the grid today. So Seb is going to be well up there in the order, as I alluded to before we spoke to him. Sebastian, who took a race win at Most, and of course a vastly experienced driver over the course of well over 20 years. I won't say how many more in case he's listening. But Sebastian Blekemolen, always good to talk to and always excited to be at the wheel of a race car. He starts alongside Liam Haismans on the third row of the grid. Haismans, of course, an iconic name in Dutch motorsport, as is Blekemolen. So that's a bit of a treat for the history buffs on row 3. For now, though, back down to Andre.
Yes, I'm here with Nicolo Rocca. Before the race, we called you a potential party crasher for Alan Day and Gianmarco Ercole. Yeah. Do you still think about grabbing that title? Because the gap is not that much.
No, definitely. I have it in my head, and hopefully, yeah, I'm going to be able to climb a few positions in the race. Quali was not amazing. The first part of the quali was very, very good. Then when I got in for the Super Pole, I didn't really feel good with the car, and yeah, started from 7th. I am going to try to do my best to gain a few positions at the beginning, and then hopefully I'm going to be in the fight for the podium. That's definitely the goal, and yeah, we'll see for the title.
When I count down to first place, there are several positions to gain, so maybe also 8 bonus points if they are the most.
Yeah, definitely. Starting from 7th, that could be enough if I manage to climb up until P1. It's not going to be easy. The first guys up there are fast, and I don't think I have anything less. I think the package has been competitive today, so it's just a matter of yeah, making sure that we have it clean, keep it clean in the first few laps, and then try to
to climb from there. Hopefully, yeah, as I said, fighting for a better result than where we are starting.
All right, thank you so much. Grazie mille and have fun.
Thank you.
Great to hear then from Nicolo Rocca, who will be starting from 7th place on the grid. As we alluded to, he was very competitive in quali. He was pole man provisionally going into Super Pole. He ended up down in 7th place ultimately. We mentioned there the bonus points, the 8 bonus points for being the driver with the most positions gained across the race. I'd say the hot favourite for that could well be Alexander Graf. He starts down on the 8th row of the grid, unfortunately. Now, we saw that Alexander last time out at Zolder didn't really make up too many positions from a poor starting place. Both he and the Speedhouse team will no doubt be working hard on the car, or have been working hard on the car to try and get him up the order in the race. Someone who doesn't have to start from quite as far back, P9 for Giorgio Maggi. Let's hear from him now.
Another driver we called a potential party crasher for Alain Day and Gianmarco Ercoli. You're 5th in the overall standings. The gap is quite short, it's not big, so all the title is still on the line for you, right?
Yeah, everything is quite close, although qualifying today was not optimal with some engine hiccups and a lot of understeer. So from P9 it is not easy at all. It will be very difficult, but there's still a possibility and we will go for it.
What's almost certain is that you will win the junior trophy for drivers age 25 and under. So are you already looking forward to grab this trophy and put it into your shelter at home?
Yeah, I'm of course happy that we're leading in this one at least. But of course all season focus is on the big one, and it's not going to change for this race. We're going to put everything on risk and try to grab the big one. And yeah, it's pretty simple. If we grab the big one, I also have the junior.
All right, vielen Dank, viel Glück, viel Spaß, good luck.
Thank you very much.
There you go, Giorgio Maggi. As you heard, he's practically got the trophy for the junior class in his backpack already. However, he is, of course, still got some pressure from the likes of Liam Hazemans. I believe the gap is 70 points, though, so I think pressure might be overstating it somewhat. You saw there Vittorio Garelli handing out some caps and talking to the fans, as all the drivers are doing. Some very popular faces in this paddock. I'm sure Alain Day is inundated. You see that Gianmarco Ercoli is quite busy as well. But great to see the supporters, the fans, getting an up-close and personal look at the EuroNASCAR machines, these stock cars powered by small block V8 motors, 400 brake horsepower, 1,200 kilos. And no man is better at wrangling them around this circuit than Alain Day.
Let's go into a more psychological thing. We talked about the qualifying already, but you've been in this position several times in the EuroNASCAR history. How does it feel to know that this could be your record-breaking 4th title, you know, 2 races coming up this weekend? What's going on in your mind?
Nothing, I just look race per race. I'm not thinking too much. All I'm focusing about is the turn 1. And have a safe race and safe, keep the car safe and be there in the end. This is the most important. It's double point. You don't want to make mistakes, and that's all I'm thinking about. The monster car, the PK Cosworth monster car is amazing, so hopefully we'll make it.
I see you listening to music all the time and stuff. Is this a way to keep focused and keep all those thoughts away?
I guess I can deal with my thoughts. It's just I have to burn time until I go into the car, so it's a good way to burn time. But this time we're here with my wife, so I don't need to listen to music.
All right, thank you so much and good luck later.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it'd be good to see some of these driver playlists, wouldn't it? Maybe we can talk to a few of them during the winter months and get a hold of their Spotify most played at the end of the year. I think that would make compelling reading for sure. Alain Day then. On the pole position, we've heard from him, and we've also heard from Ercoli and Garelli on row 2 of the grid. Those two will be looking to make a mark in the early stages, although Vittorio Garelli was very quick to make it clear that he was not going to intervene in the championship proceedings if he could possibly avoid it. There is the beautiful Chevrolet Corvette C3 on Italian plates, no less. That car are acting as our pace car for today. and proper feel of Americana. As always in the EuroNASCAR paddock, American car clubs come out in their droves. So if you are into the American style of motoring and motorsport, you should always make way to your local EuroNASCAR, NASCAR Whelen Euro Series event. Because there's always a contingent of American muscle, American sports cars, and even just station wagons, all sorts of different stuff often makes its way out to a EuroNASCAR weekend. It really is a festival of all things American motoring, no least in terms of the cars we have on the main event of the bill, these wonderful stock cars that we run in EuroNASCAR. Proven package, very quick package, a car that we love to see in action. And, well, it seems as though Andre Viegold has caught up with the best of the beards in the paddock in the form of Claudio Remigio Capelli.
Thank you so much, Adam. Our commentator was complimenting your beard.
Thank you so much. I try to keep the beard in the right position, but with the helmet it's impossible.
But it's one of your, let's say, typical signs that it's you.
Yes, I try to make me recognize this year for the beard. I hope next year for the results.
But qualifying was okay. How is it to race here at Automotodrom, Grobnik?
Grobnik is very, very, very fast. It's very funny for me. I raced here last year with the Cayman Porsche Cup, but it was raining. Today the sun is with us, so it's much better. NASCAR is 10 seconds faster than a Porsche Cup, so it's very fun. It's very, 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 very fun. It is the right word.
What are your goals for this race in the Challenger Trophy?
I hope to stay in the first 10 position, like in the Super Bowl I did. So the others are all behind. The good result of the podium, not for the overall classment. So it's good for me to stay there.
All right, thank you so much. Grazie mille and have fun.
Thank you so much to you and to the NASCAR.
Excellent to hear from Claudio. I tell you, I always mention his beard, and it's mostly just envy, to be honest with you, because I am extremely baby-faced. Could not dream of growing that if I didn't shave for 40 years. Claudio Remigio Capelli making his way back to the car. He's on the 5th row of the grid in 10th place. As he said, he made the Super Bowl session, the top 10 shootout Super Bowl earlier on. And he'll be looking to try and stay in the top 10, or indeed maybe just knock his way a little further up the order if he possibly can. You've heard it a few times already in this broadcast. This is a high-speed circuit. The corners are very positively cambered. So not only are there only so few tight corners at this circuit, but every corner allows you to carry great speed around the circuit. This is a look at Most, unfortunately, as opposed to Grobnik, so that's not quite the right track map. But looking at it from above, it's very sinuous. It carries it's quite a narrow piece of land that the Automotodrom Grobnik sits on. But every corner is a challenge, and most of them have a great positive camber that allows you to carry a lot more speed into the corner. A lot of them are on the borderline of looking banked as if it was a NASCAR oval. Been enjoying the action throughout qualifying. You could see the full commitment on display from some of our drivers, including Vladimiros Tsiortsis, who looked incredibly committed. He is the fastest driver of anyone after qualifying. He was even quicker than Alan Day in EuroNASCAR 2. Here is the Automotodrom Grobnik then. You see there we start with a quick flick to the left, then it's a right-hand bend that follows that. And you see there, to my point, so few tight corners, the two tightest corners on the layout just towards the end of the first sector, and then just before we do the run long down to turn 1 again. So turn 5 and turn 16, 15, 16 are the tightest corners on the layout. So many sweeping bends, lots of opportunities given the positive camber around the corners for drivers to go side by side. So even though the speeds are high, the racing is always good. Let's go back down to Andre.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm here with one of the EuroNASCAR 2 drivers, a true NASCAR Whelen News Series rookie, Patrick Schober. You're going to race later at 4:15. We go live with your race. You have a very special car this weekend with Double V Racing. All the Halloween stuff on it, right?
Yeah, it's amazing what the team does, everything for me with the Patrick star on the side. It looks cool and it's amazing, yeah.
Is the car fast?
Yeah, it feels fast, but we didn't have the opportunity to show it in the qualifying because always traffic and we had a problem with the gearbox, but now it's all fixed and ready for the race, yeah.
About the track, it's very fast, it's tricky with the corners, left, right. Is it fun for you to drive here at Automotodrom Grobnik?
Yeah, it's fun because I drove last year and a few years back, I drove with the Formula car, with the Formula 4. But now with the NASCAR, it's completely different, and I had to change my line because the team also told me that I'm driving like a Formula driver. But yeah, now I'm fully ready to go into the race. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, and good luck later. Vielen Dank.
Thank you. Bye.
There we go. So they've got a Halloween special out on the circuit for Patrick Schober in EuroNASCAR 2 later on. Of course, we are rapidly approaching Halloween on Monday evening. I hope you've all got plans to go out, dress up and have some fun on Monday evening. But of course, the best of the fun is yet to come, and it's happening right here at Grobnik, at the Automotodrom Grobnik, with this season finale of EuroNASCAR. Theoretically speaking, both championships are almost certain to go down to the wire on the Sunday race, especially with the double points in play. That is more than a likelihood. But there are lots of question marks still to be answered. Can Alan Day hold on to the championship lead that he has held for a majority of the season? Can Gianmarco Ercole continue his fabulous form so far this year? He has been stellar all season long. And he is just 6 points back now. Of course, I say he's been stellar all season long, but the fortune hasn't always been in his favour. We discussed some of the incidents that happened to him earlier in the year. He's had a rough run of form in the first part of the season. Even though his performances were great, sometimes the luck simply wasn't there. And we're now hoping to see him challenge Alan Day in a true fair fight. Hopefully, no outside influences affect either man's championship battle. So we're down within the final 15 minutes now before the countdown to the command is completed. I know that we're going to have Jason Simmons representing NASCAR flying out from America. He's going to be here to give us the start command in a short while. And there are few things in motorsport that compare to a full field of stock cars lining up in unison and starting their engines in unison. That is the case on either side of the Atlantic, here in EuroNASCAR as well as across the pond, where a majority of stock car racing, of course, takes place in the USA. The ground will shake. The surrounding buildings may well vibrate as we get these cars off the line with the engine started in about 14 minutes' time. National anthem.
What so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes embrace us through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watch, we so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say the stars, stars bright, banner Slovačka, zemljo milá, staré slavné dědovino, da by vás sretna byla, milá dano si nám slavná, milá si nám ty jediná. Milá kuda si nám rána, milá kuda si planina, teď si drávo sa voteci, niti Dunav silu gubi, sinje more svijetu reci, da svoj narod Hrvat ljubi, dok mu njive sunce grije, dok mu kraše bura vije, dok mu mrtve groba krije, dok mu živo srce
Performance there from Lydia Bacic, otherwise known as Lille. Quite a significant pop star here in Croatia. Got a #2 single back in 2018. Still releasing some music today, of course, and check out her new single, Mucho Loco. If you enjoyed that performance, a rendition of both the US and Croatian national anthems there from Lydia. And I'm sure the Croatian home crowd liking the sound of their own national anthem there. And great to have Lydia with us for this weekend. There is evidence of the fact that we are quite close to an airfield here, a runway here at the Automotodrom Grobnik. It is certainly quite a busy area between the sound of these cars and indeed some of the light aircraft taking off and landing. We are rapidly approaching the command being given. It's going to be a very exciting 17 laps of racing once we do get underway here. Could this be the day that the pendulum definitively swings in the championship battle? It really can't be decided today, the championship, but a bad race for Alan Day, for Gianmarco Ercoli, or indeed Alexander Graf could see any of the top three in the championship thrown into the into obscurity in the championship battle. A non-score for any of those three would be disaster. Realistically, a non-score for anyone would be a disaster at this point of the season. We are eager to see as well what Patrick Lemarie can do. He's second on the grid for this race. He'll start alongside Alan Day. Now, he said, you know what, I'm not a championship contender. I'm not going to win the championship this year. We've had some bad luck here and there. That seems to be consistent across the #5 car, because Vladimiros Tsiotsis has had his rough run of it as well. But he says, you know what, these two have a championship to fight for, meaning Ercoli and Day. So hopefully that means that they just let me through, let me get on with it, and give me a couple of race victories. So that's the mindset for this man, Patrick Lemarie, in the #5 car. We'll see whether any of that comes true. So less than 7.5 minutes before we hear the command, and you see their drivers up and down the grid now, getting suited and booted, getting the helmet back on firmly getting themselves into the zone for racing. One driver who I believe we're not going to have on the grid, unfortunately, is Mike David Ortman in the number 48 car, normally the domain of one Yevgen Sokolovsky. However, Hugo Sassa in the EuroNASCAR 2 qualifying had quite a major off, and I know for a fact the car won't be repaired for this race. Anything beyond that, we're not entirely sure, although the level of damage to the car after the crash for Hugo Sassa in EuroNASCAR 2 qualifying suggests that perhaps the 48 has finished its weekend very prematurely indeed. Of course, Mike David Ortman and Hugo Sassa, the ADAC GT4 champions. We're very much looking forward to seeing them race, but unfortunately that will not happen. I understand though that we should, as we get closer, take a closer look at the track. In case you missed qualifying earlier on, it'd be handy to get our eye in and have a look at the circuit. So let's take a closer look at the Automotodrom Grobnik.
Yeah, it's a special event here in Grobnik, in Croatia. It's a nice weather. I think this is the best weather we can ask for in this time of the year, especially here for the finals. It's going to be an interesting and very, I think, stressful, at least for me, weekend. We're fighting for the championship, and I think a lot of drivers here are fighting also for the championship and for some good positions. So I think we're going to see a lot of actions and a lot of good stuff here. A very unique track. I think it's the fastest track we have all year long. So there is a lot to put on the car and on the setup of the car. And obviously, if you make the smallest mistake, you lose so much time. And this is the problematic thing about this track. You have to be very consistent and not making any mistakes. The first part of the track is a bit tricky. I think this is the only one of the only places that we have the most amount of right corners, which is a bit funny. Obviously, the first corner diving in, it's a very bumpy and extremely fast corner. So I think it might be a good place to overtake, but also a very risky one. If you made a mistake, you obviously almost pretty sure you're going to take out the guy who you want to overtake. It's narrow, it's really hard to pass, but it's so enjoyable to drive. As much as it's enjoyable, it's also very hard to drive. The last part of the track, I think it's a good opportunity to overtake. You have a long straight before, you can really sit on the slipstream of the driver and then dive in. And I think this is the slowest corner of the track and also the best opportunity to overtake. Maybe I will have the opportunity to take a quick swim on the sea, or even Saturday evening. Depends where will I finish this race. Race fans, come to watch the race here in Croatia, and obviously if you cannot come, you can always watch it live on the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series YouTube channel. Hopefully see you here, and if not, enjoy the race.
So there you go. If you're watching now, you're already tuned in live to the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series YouTube channel, and we thank you so much for doing so. We are within 3 minutes now of the start command. We will soon be on the formation lap and ready for a 2x2 rolling start. However, always ready with an interview is Andre Wiegold.
Thank you so much. We don't have so much time. Loris Hesemans, two-time EuroNASCAR champion and current Cup Series driver. You did some races in the US and the Cup Series in the highest level of NASCAR this year. How was it going?
Well, good. I mean, first of all, hey, all EuroNASCAR fans, it's a real pleasure to be back here. Obviously supporting my little brother Liam Hasemans this weekend, so it should be exciting. I mean, the Cup Series, first of all, was an incredible experience. It's something that you dream of, something to achieve that level, to be among those names. It's definitely been a tough season. I think we definitely had speed, and we showed speed. Running up to 12 and fighting with Kimi in Watkins Glen was definitely the highlight, but we just had a lot of bad luck. We had from the 5 weekends, we had 4 times around, we had mechanical issues. But that's part of racing, you know, so focusing on to the next year and seeing what we can do there.
You said your little brother is here in EuroNASCAR 2 battling for the championship. Do you think he has what it takes to beat Alberto Nasca?
Oh, I don't think so. I'm 100% sure he has what it takes. There's no doubt about that. No, he's doing an amazing job. I mean, especially for his first year. Okay, it's in Elite 2, but he comes from, obviously, karting World Championships, but never drove in the car before, and he's right there, right from the beginning. Even here today in the EuroNASCAR Pro, he is in 5th position, so it shows the talent that he has.
And now you're the defending title champion in the EuroNASCAR Pro. Your title is going to another person. Who do you put your money on?
I mean, I'm good friends, obviously, with Alan, but Gianmarco is obviously also a great racer. It would be also nice to see in a way that a new person wins, but at the same time, I also wish Alan. I just hope there's a good fight until the very last lap.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you, El, and tot ziens.
Thank you.
There you go, completely unbiased unless we're talking about Liam. Loris Hasemans down there on the grid. So awesome to hear from Loris. Intrigued to see what his 2023 plans are. Of course, you heard Twan Hasemans allude to it in our qualifying show earlier on. The lack of testing is really making the Cup Series program a challenge for Team Haserberg over there in the US, but it remains to be seen quite what the 2023 plans hold. I imagine, though, he will be back in a stock car in some capacity in 2023, supporting his little brother, which is absolutely brilliant. And you see there the countdown clock. We are soon going to hear the start command. It's going to be a great pleasure to welcome our Grand Marshal for this weekend from the NASCAR organisation. Jason Simmons is about to give us the command. I'll throw down to him now.
From NASCAR International, Mr. Jason Simmons. You can go.
On behalf of NASCAR fans around the globe and the France family out of Daytona Beach, Florida, drivers, start your engines!
You know what? I got the impression he's been waiting to do that a whole lifetime. Great job from Jason Simmons there to give us the start command. The engines are live. The inhabitants of the grid are quickly dissipating because it's time for racing action, and this is going to be a wonderful event. I have no doubt about that. We've heard at length from just about everybody we've spoken to just how amazing this circuit is. The Grobnik Automotodrom is almost designed for EuroNASCAR, I feel, even though it was constructed in the mid-70s and we didn't necessarily have the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series at that time, but the circuit's characteristics are perfectly aligned with the cars we've got here on the grid today. It always provides us with excellent action. It provides the drivers with some of the best at-the-wheel experiences they will get all year long, and this year it hosts our double points season finale in the championship. It's a circuit that we all love to visit, and we're so ready to see what's going to happen. It is Alan Day who will lead them away at the sharp end of the order then. The ever-present Alan Day at the sharp end of the order in the number 24 car, the PK Car Sport Chevrolet Camaro on the front end of the grid, and he's joined by Patrick Lemery of France on that front row. Patrick hoping for a win as the championship battle unfolds around him. Gianmarco Ercoli 6 points back from Alan Day. A victory today would secure him the championship lead going into the season finale. Vittorio Gorelli in 4th place. Liam Hasemans in at P5, and he is joined on that row of the grid by Sebastian Blakemolen. An all-Dutch stalwart row of the grid, row number 3. Nicolo Rocca 4th in the championship. He had good pace in quali, but he didn't quite get it together in Superpole. Mark Goossens, always a force to be reckoned with, the wily and experienced Belgian racer. Giorgio Maggi, a shoe-in for the junior class championship win. He's alongside Claudio Remeggio Capelli in the number 16 car. And there is Max Lanza, who at this stage is tied on points with Fabrizio Armetta in the EuroNASCAR Pro Challenger class. So he is going to be hoping for the best here. Get some good points on the board. He's starting behind Armetta, who once again had a strong qualifying. You see there the beautiful Chevy Corvette C3 leading them around the circuit. Then it's just a few corners now between us and a 2x2 rolling start. The penultimate race of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. If you've been watching all year long, you'll know that as standard, there are 40 points up for grabs for our race winner. However, everything is doubled in the finale weekend. So, what does that mean? Well, 80 points for a win. Second place is 70 points. And then every other point scored goes down in increments of 2. So third place, 68 points. Fourth place, 66 points. So on and so forth. There are also 8 points, as opposed to the standard 4, available to the winners, or rather the drivers with the most positions gained. So keep an eye out on perhaps Alexander Graf, who starts well outside the top 10. He's in the mid-teens on the 8th row of the grid, and he could have an opportunity to move up through the order and perhaps gain those positions. However, he's got a lot of work to do, and since he's only 8 points back from the championship lead, he is going to feel that that work needs to be done as soon as possible. So then, the cars in 2x2 formation. It is the finals weekend in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. It is the NASCAR Grand Prix of Croatia. It is EuroNASCAR Pro getting ready to take the start. There will be one less V8 motor on the circuit in a moment as our Corvette pace car peels in to the pit lane, and it will then be time for the V8 Thunder of the EuroNASCAR Pro category to launch away with Alan Day at the sharp end. What can Patrick Lemaree do from second place? Can everyone get through the sinuous first corners without drama? All questions that remain to be answered. We'll answer them now. It's Alan Day on the outside of your picture then. He's on the left-hand side of his perspective anyway, and he leads Gianmarco Ercoli behind him. So Gianmarco Ercoli getting past Patrick Lemaree there. Lemaree not able to hold on to second place. Ercoli with the outside line going through the first corner, which is little but a curve, and then around turn 2, which is a left-hand bend, he managed to jump forth into second place. Everyone else scything their way through without too much drama. Lots of 2 wide, even a little bit of 3 wide further back in the pack. And oh, Max Lanza in a spin. Massimilio Lanza in a spin. And he's caught it and moved on nicely. But lap 1 of 17, and he's already in dramas. You see there are some tyres strewn around the circuit on the exits and entries of various corners to ensure that there is no shortcutting or abuse of track limits. But that does mean that if you're side by side with somebody, it could get a little bit scary quite quickly. Alan Day then leading the field from Gianmarco Ercoli. This at the moment would grant him a 16-point lead if things were to finish as they are now, going into the title decider in tomorrow's race. Now Gianmarco Ercoli stalking Alan Day. We've got a long way to go here. It was almost side by side further back there, I believe. That's Liam Hazeman's pressuring Mark Goossens, and look at that, Nicola Rocca right in it with Giorgio Maggi and Claudio Remeggio Capelli as well. That is a battle for 6th place. Goossens has made up a couple of positions there on the first lap then, and look at this side by side as they go through the first braking zone of the lap. Making his way through the order again is Nicola Rocca. He started in 7th place. He crossed the line in 10th, however. He's now moved up to 9th. So a few cars struggling in the early stages. Martin Dubeck is well outside the top 10. He still had half, maybe just one toe in the door when it came to the championship here. Looks unlikely that he's going to be a factor in the title hunt. The top 2 in the championship, though, are the top 2 on the circuit right now. First and second place, Alan Day, our championship leader, leads Gianmarco Ercoli. All the way down, still in 16th place, is the number 64 car of Alexander Graf. So Alexander Graf, who was 8 points back coming into this race, is now all the way down in 16th, where he started effectively. well outside the top 10. He needs to make some serious ground in order to stay within a true championship opportunity. Car 69, Sebastian Bleekemolen with a starting procedure infringement. Sebastian Bleekemolen has received a 10-second penalty, which will be applied to him at the end of the race, I believe. So unfortunately, Sebastian Bleekemolen, fight as he might, is going to lose a lot of positions by the end of this race with a 10-second penalty. I guess he was out of position on the grid on the rolling start. Now we're seeing that Gianmarco Ercole is just keeping a watching brief of Alan Day at the moment, albeit Ercole with the slipstream down some of these long straights that we heard Alan Day refer to. He is watching on with interest there in second place, Gianmarco Ercole. And I think that slipstream down towards turns 15 and 16 could prove to be the making of the race for Gianmarco Ercole. If he can get a good enough launch down the long back straight, that will do him all manner of good. We're watching there as the number 3 car of Frederic Gabillon leads the battle for 11th place ahead of Iannetta Tuamala and Martin Dubek. You've got Leonardo Colavita just behind them in 15th, and there you see Alexander Graf just going through shot there in the white and blue. He is still down there in 16th position. He has not made up any ground just yet, and he needs to do so desperately here to stay within true title contendership. You see the side-by-side action as everyone tries to find grip and space. Of course, they need to make sure they don't take too much out of their tyres. These tyres were on the cars in qualifying. They are on the cars now, and they will be on the cars again in the title decider tomorrow. So it is imperative for everybody that they stay on the right side of the Hoosier rubbers and don't seesaw at the wheel too much. Gabillon under huge pressure from Romain Iannetta in the scrap for 10th place then. The gap between Alan Day and Gianmarco Ercole at the front of the order was 0.2 of a second as they crossed the line, so it's still very close quarters for the lead. Close quarters as well for P11 as Gabillon continues to be pressured by Iannetta. Martin Dubek just behind them as well. You saw him running slightly wide at turn 5 in the number 7 car. Here is our top 2 then. You've got Patrick Lemery and Vittorio Girelli having a good scrap behind them, but it's Alan Day and Gianmarco Ercole that we're keeping an eye on right now. The championship battle is happening before our eyes with 10 points of difference between first and second place in the championship standings. Of course, that means that whoever wins this race will be our championship leader coming into the decider, as long as it's one of Alan Day and Gianmarco Ercole. If Ercole takes the win today, he will have 4 points over Alan Day in the championship. If Alan Day wins, he'll have 16 points over Gianmarco Ercole as it stands. So it could be a huge blow dealt to Gianmarco Ercole if he can't find a way past Alan Day over the course of this race. We're on to lap 5 of the race then. 4 laps completed thus far from a total of 17. Everyone through that first lap cleanly, which was a very good job from all parties. Just to say, Frederic Gabillon, we saw him under pressure from Romain Iannetta. He has dropped down the order, and a car off further back. Is that the number 8 car potentially? Yes, it is. Dario Casso has had an off there. And Casso looks like he's firmly embedded in the gravel. I believe that was at turn 15-16. And that is not a good place for a car to be. Just mentioning that Frederic Gabillon had lost 2 positions. I wouldn't mind betting that the entire field could soon be compacted together. You see the green flag is waving. Ah, no, this is a different incident. Martin Dubek has gone off the circuit. You can see the front end of that car is buckled. You can also see that the tyre barriers are misaligned. No surprises that the safety car is out then. There's lots going on around the circuit. There's been an issue for Martin Dubek. We don't know whether he was alone or whether he got pushed. The same applies to Dario Casso as well. But the long and short of it is the safety car is out. And for the first time today, the race is paused. So I'd say that's a relief for Alan Day, because he now doesn't have to worry quite as much for the next couple of laps about Gianmarco Ercole, but for Ercole, it's not advantageous in the slightest because he had an advantage over Lemarie, and that is going to be dissipated away. Of course, it will be a 2x2 rolling start as well when we do go back to green flag, at least it should be by letter of the law, and that means that everyone's position will suddenly be under threat when we do go back to racing. So 2 separate incidents, it seems, for Martin Dubek and Dario Casso. I believe those were at different points of the circuit. I believe Dubek is abandoned just where we're coming up to now, turn 5. I believe Dario Casso is at 15-16. Nonetheless, with a multitude of cars strewn across the circuit, it was somewhat inevitable that the race would be put to safety car conditions. I get the feeling that this set of people might be cheering on one Vittorio Gorelli and perhaps the likes of Alberto Nasca in EuroNASCAR 2 a little later on. So the safety car has been deployed. You'll note that the Chevrolet Corvette has been exchanged for a Skoda Estate. I believe that's an Octavia. Well, no matter what Skoda it is, I'd say it's a little bit of a downgrade on the Corvette, just being honest with you. But nonetheless, I don't think this will be the longest of safety car periods. The Dario Casso car was embedded in the gravel, but it was also very near to the outside of the track. So in theory, towing it back out of the gravel shouldn't be the most strenuous task. And Martin Dubek's car, as far as we could see, looked like it was still able to roll. Unless he's buckled the suspension, we wouldn't have seen that from the angle that we saw the car. But I'm positing my theory that this shouldn't be the longest delay we've ever had. Had 1 lap under safety car. Perhaps we will clear the surface ready to go after 2, but let's wait and see. You can see recovery process ongoing at the moment, and the digger is on site. It might be maybe 2 more laps behind safety car since the car is still in the gravel. We'll have to wait and see, but nonetheless, it shouldn't be too long before we go racing. Of course, if we do get a safety car towards the end of the race, we will go into overtime, which will be a 2-lap extension to make sure we get a green flag finish. We have seen a few times this year overtime biting people, most notably in EuroNASCAR 2 at Brands Hatch, where Liam Hasemans elevated himself from 3rd to 1st in the overtime 2 laps. Of course, 2 laps of the Brands Indy circuit is not much time at all. He did a very good job of making up positions quickly. Liam Hasemans, incidentally, down in 7th place in this race. He's doubling up in EuroNASCAR Pro and EuroNASCAR 2. We heard from brother Loris Hasemans, last year's champion, reigning champion, but not defending, sadly. But for all the right reasons, because he has been focusing on a partial campaign in the NASCAR Cup Series with the family Team Hazeberg outfit, which we hope to see back in 2023 over on the other side of the Atlantic. Of course, the American NASCAR contingent will be making their way over, at least with 1 car across the Atlantic, with a Le Mans Garage 56 program expected with the Hendricks team. Or I should say Hendrick, singular. Of course, our team here is Hendricks. There is a Hendrick Motorsport, of course, of great success in the NASCAR Cup Series. And they are bringing a specialised reworking of the Gen 7 car to the Le Mans 24 Hours next year, in theory. Heard some very interesting names thrown around as to who might be driving the car at the 2023 Le Mans 24 Hours. It's going to be an interesting test of exactly how durable those Cup Series cars actually are. as they go up against some of the elite sports car and GT racers in the NASCAR machinery. Being compelled to see what kind of power figures the car develops as well, quite what package they choose to go with. Of course, not the first time we'll have seen NASCARs at Le Mans. A couple of them were brought over in the 70s to great fanfare and slightly poor fuel economy. So the safety car remains out, and I believe the lights remain on at the moment, but it was difficult to see there on that shot in the sun. We're not going 2 by 2 just yet, so I think that things are still paused for now. Just getting some information from one of our crew around the circuit that this could take a little bit of time. Just receiving a photo within the media link up, and they're still trying to tow away Martin Dubek's car at the moment. I think the front end is rather stowed in, unfortunately. So Martin Dubek's car proving to be a little harder to move than perhaps we anticipated. Of course, the Le Mans event falling just 1 week before the EuroNASCAR race at Brands Hatch. And we understand that we should have the Garage 56 presence at Brands Hatch at our event, the American Speedfest. Of course, the long-standing celebration of all things NASCAR in the British countryside, the Kentish countryside. And we do understand we're going to have some Project 56 presence there. Hopefully the car, if it's still straight, narrow and true after the Le Mans 24 hours. I think they might stay on for the Goodwood Festival of Speed as well. So it's going to be quite the festivities. Sure, we're looking forward to seeing the Garage 56 crews, or crew, I shouldn't pluralise, Garage 56 crew at the Le Mans 24 hours. And safety car is going to be in this lap. We've also got it confirmed that it will be a double file restart as well. So that is absolutely perfect. That means we're going to have basically a complete reset. I take the opportunity to slightly reset my seating position then, because I know things are going to get intense now with 8 laps in the books. By the time we cross the line, it will be pretty much half distance in this race, and we're going to do it all again. It's going to be another double file start, a double file restart after the safety car period. And you know what they say about safety cars. I won't repeat the cliche, just know that it often holds true. So Alan Day and Gianmarco Ercoli will be side by side for the first time this weekend as we get underway. The two main championship contenders. Unfortunately for Alexander Graf, he will be down in 15th place off this restart. So as much as Alexander Graf, just 8 points back, was a primary championship contender heading into this race, it's looking like that era might be at its end. Let's see then who gets the jump as they go 2 by 2. Keep an eye on Alan Day and Gianmarco Ercoli. If Ercoli wins, he will gain the championship lead. If Alan Day wins this race, he will extend his championship lead. We mustn't rule out the likes of Patrick Lemery and Vittorio Gorelli in 3rd and 4th place, though they could still be a key factor in this as well. So then, we're about to start lap 9 of 17. Here at the Automotodrom Grobnik. It is the penultimate round of EuroNASCAR Pro. The safety car dashes in. And soon we will race once more. Alan Day versus Gianmarco Ercoli in a drag race down to the first couple of corners of this lap. Green flag flies and they're underway, and it's a clear lead for Alan Day. He's got a nose ahead as they run towards the first couple of corners, but Ercoli seemingly getting through the gears a bit quicker. He's still side by side with Alan Day. Alan Day makes sure he squeezes him out. No room for the Pink Peril in second place. Patrick Lemery trying to go to the inside of Gianmarco Ercoli, but he can't find a way by. Everyone else cleanly through the first couple of corners. Again, with these positive cambered turns throughout the circuit, you can go too wide quite easily. That does allow things to progress swiftly. I think one of the cars having a slight slow run through turn 5 there. That might have been Lanza down there. Liam Hasemans was on the outside of Sebastian Blakemolen, and he couldn't find his way through at turn 5. Seems as though, by and large, everything has remained in stasis at the sharp end of the order, although Giorgio Maggi has managed to get himself, I believe, up as far as 5th place, which is very good going. We'll wait for the timing screen to confirm it, but Giorgio Maggi in the 18 car, the Swiss flagged car, having a good run. Claudio Remeggio Capelli going rally crossing. There we see the 23 of Henri Tuamala. He's gotten past Roman Iannetta on this first lap back under green flag conditions. Not found a way through on that occasion. Meanwhile, Nicolo Rocca all over the back of Mark Goossens. Let's see if he can challenge. In fact, that's not Goossens, that is Sebastian Blakemolen, I think. Nonetheless, everyone making it through the first corners without too much drama. In fact, I was right the first time. It is Mark Goossens just ahead of Nicolo Rocca there in that battle for 8th place. Alan Day and Gianmarco Ercoli again, just 2/10 separate them at the sharp end. Meanwhile, Leonardo Colavita up ahead of Frederic Gabillon. So that's 14th place now for Colavita, and critically just ahead of them up into 13th has gone Alexander Graf. So finally Alexander Graf is starting to make up some places. He now needs to get himself going, really. He needs to get a shift on and make his way through the order to challenge, to stay in the championship challenge. 5-second penalty, which will be applied at the end of the race for the number 3 car. So Frederic Gabillon, improper restart, and he will lose 5 seconds at the end of his race time as a result of that. That could well drop him quite far down the order, especially if we do end up with another pause before the end of this race. Certainly those that have a penalty will be hoping that we go green until the end, especially Sebastian Blakemolen. He's got a 10-second penalty waiting in the wings for him. Giorgio Maggi waiting in the wings for an opportunity to get past Vittorio Garelli right now. He's not forthcoming into the first couple of corners, but Garelli will be no doubt aware of Giorgio Maggi, who started down in 9th place, so he's made up some good positions so far. If he can get himself up towards podium, he might well be a favourite for most positions gained, and therefore an 8-point bonus, which could help him back towards the sharp end of the championship standings. May well put him up into 3rd ahead of Alexander Graf. Of course, Nicolo Rocca as well. Rocca currently down in 9th place, Maggi in 5th. So I think for the moment, they'd be with just 1 point between them at the end of the race if it were to finish as it is. But nonetheless, it is the championship lead that we are keeping our beady eyes peeled on right now. And in the championship lead battle, Alan Day is currently holding off Gianmarco Ercoli at the front end of the order. Of course, Giorgio Maggi currently the leading of the junior drivers right now as well, which will all but secure him the championship in the junior trophy. He's had some contendership in the form of Liam Hasemans this year, although Hasemans, of course, missed Valencia, so realistically, it's been the Giorgio Maggi show in the junior class this year. It's lap 12 of 17 here at Grobnik, and you see the championship top two being pursued by Patrick Lemery, Vittorio Gorelli and Giorgio Maggi. Sebastian Blekemolen and Liam Hasemans following behind, but Alan Day and Gianmarco Ercoli have scarcely been separated by half a second at any point. Unfortunately for Alexander Graf, he's up into 12th place, but he is struggling immensely. His best lap is well off the pace of some of the others. Claudio Remeggio Capelli has dropped down many positions on that lap. He's now down in 17th, so I think he's had an off or a slight error somewhere, and he's dropped down to 17th place. That has promoted Alexander Graf to 12th, but meanwhile, for 4th place, it is Giorgio Maggi up a position. And I think there was a little bit of contact. Oh, that's a big moment for Vittorio Gorelli. I thought I saw something fly off the car, but the engine has firmly exploded underneath him. It's clearly laid oil down because other cars have gone off behind him, but that was a huge explosion for Vittorio Gorelli. The engine let go in no uncertain terms. We go on to another lap of racing with Gianmarco Ercoli hounding the back of Alan Day. But that was a huge flame out. Something like a top fuel dragster there for Vittorio Gorelli. He was being hounded by Giorgio Maggi, and it looked like he was weak in a straight line. I thought I saw a piece of the car fly off, but I wasn't necessarily expecting to see the car go straight on in a cloud of flame, but that's exactly what happened. Giorgio Maggi then up to 4th place, Sebastian Blekemolen up to 5th, Hasemans is 6th place, Roman Iannetta has gained positions, he's up into 7th. Of course, we saw Mark Goossens off track. He was one of the ones that went out wide, as was Nicolo Rocca. So Nicolo Rocca down to 13th place. That will move Giorgio Maggi up ahead of him in the championship if things were to finish as they are, I believe. But my concern now is the fact that the top two are coming towards each other at full speed with what looked to be oil down on the circuit. We can take a look at the championship top two. That would be ideal because I think drama could be about to happen. Have they both clocked the fact that the circuit is slippery? Not Alan Day. Oh, he went very wide there. Clearly, the circuit surface is suboptimal there because you could see Alan Day run wide and he just about held on to it. We saw two cars immediately off track after the engine explosion for Vittorio Gorelli. And I think that surface is a little bit slippery as a result. It doesn't seem too bad. Everyone in the top six has got through cleanly, but they are going to have to take that corner with a little bit of caution for the remainder of this race. Alexander Graf, incidentally, has moved up into 10th place as a result of that engine explosion. And cars going off as a result of it. And in fact, he's moved further up. He's up into 9th place now. I think Mark Goossens has been overtaken by Alexander Graf. And given they're both part of the Speedhouse team, I maybe get the feeling that that could be more championship play and team orders than an actual overtake on circuit. But nonetheless, Alexander Graf is up to 9th place with 8 bonus points. That will still keep him somewhere within the realms of championship contention. And as of right now, I believe he would get the 8 bonus points, but that is to be confirmed. Lap 14 of 17, and Gianmarco Ercoli has not given Alan Day the slightest bit of breathing room over the course of this race. Alan Day into the now slightly slippery turn 15 and turn 16. It looks like he struggles to get the car turned in there. Gianmarco Ercoli gets the slipstream each and every time on this main straight. He's not close enough for a challenge into turns 1 and 2, I don't think. He's also got to be conscious of the fact that Patrick Lemery is hounding from behind. Remember as well that the fastest laps in today's race determine the grid for tomorrow. And at the moment, the fastest lap of the race, I believe, belongs to Giorgio Maggi, if I'm not mistaken. So he could find himself on pole position if things finish up as they are. Meanwhile, I thought Mark Goossens was playing the team game with Alexander Graf, and it appears that's not the case because they've switched back. Alexander Graf is now behind Mark Goossens once again. Okay, interesting. So Graf now under pressure from Colavita, and they were 3/10 apart across the line, Goossens and Graf, and I'm just wondering whether Graf maybe missed a gear or something, because uncharacteristically he's now dropped off the back. Oh, was that a little bit of smoke? It looked like there was a little bit out of Alexander Graf's car, but he's dropped off now, Mark Goossens, and he's under pressure from Colavita and Capelli behind. Colavita, I believe, and Nicolo Rocca behind. No, I was right the first time. It is Capelli. The replay is going to tell us some stories here. This is what happened to Vittorio Girelli. You see there, a piece of the car comes off, I think of its own volition. I don't believe there was any contact there. And he suddenly loses straight line speed. Next thing we know, 36 car is auditioning to be a barbecue. Will have been a scary moment for Vittorio Girelli. And there you see that Mark Goossens and Nicolo Rocca were immediately sent off coming around that corner, which implied that it was at least a little bit slippery. It's lap 16 of the race then. It's the penultimate lap, and the top three are all together in one long queue. Patrick Lemarie was hoping to take a victory here as the championship top two battled. Let's see if that proves to be the case now. Certainly Alan Day has led this race from the very first corner. Gianmarco Ercoli has been challenging him every inch of the way, and as the race has worn on, Patrick Lemarie has drawn closer and closer and closer once again. Should say that Alexander Graf is still out there. I thought I'd seen a little bit of smoke, but it seems as though the car is continuing on without too much pressure, or too much problem, I should say. He's still there in 10th place behind Mark Goossens. Those 8 bonus points I thought he might be on for could be under threat because Mark Goossens is ahead of him. So I'm sure Speedhouse is hurriedly trying to maybe sort out a re-exchange of positions, if at all possible. However, the main story, the main championship top two are in the lead. It was 6 points between Alan Day and Gianmarco Ercoli coming into this race. If things finish as they are now, that points lead for Alan Day will go up to 16, which could prove to be unassailable for Gianmarco Ercoli unless Alan Day has troubles tomorrow. That, of course, is well within the realms of possibility. Alan Day would only need to finish in the top 5 to secure the championship tomorrow if things finish as they are. And that would be with Ercoli taking the race win. So this could be a significant blow dealt in the championship by Alan Day if he can take the victory in this race. He's got just a few corners between himself and glory, but Gianmarco Ercoli is still there. He's still close. They come onto the back straight now. This is where the slipstream has proved critical. Just a couple of corners left, and now onto the back straight. And let's see if he can get close enough. Gianmarco Ercoli in the slipstream. I don't think we've got local yellows down there anymore, but not close enough to make a move anyway. Oh, Alan Day does drift wide. Does Gianmarco Ercoli try and get to the inside? I think he was trying to, but he wasn't close enough. It's going to be Alan Day that claims the win, and he gets one step closer. He gets one hand on the championship with victory here in the first race of two at the Automotodrom Grobnik. It's Alan Day who puts his championship lead up to 16 points. With that victory over Gianmarco Ercoli, Patrick Lemarie taking third place. Meanwhile, Mark Goossens is trying to get back around Alexander Graf. So Alexander Graf has got back ahead of Mark Goossens on this lap. That means that Alexander Graf will finish in 9th place from, I think it was 15th on the grid. And Graf crosses the line now to take P9. So he did get himself back ahead of Mark Goossens. I wonder if that was an assisted overtake, whether Mark Goossens allowed it to happen or not. But nonetheless, that could prove critical in the championship. By my reckoning, Graf will have made up more positions than anyone else out there, but that is strictly a provisional theory. If so, that does still put him just about within championship contention. At least mathematically, it would be a long shot nonetheless from 9th in this race, and especially given he'll start well down the order tomorrow as well with the best time of 1:31.566. Of course, the grid for tomorrow is set by the fastest times today, and I believe that means that Giorgio Maggi, fourth today, will start pole tomorrow alongside this man, Alan Day. So Alan Day taking the win and putting himself a lot closer to championship glory there. He gets 10 points over Gianmarco Ercoli in the 54 car. It was 80 points for a win, 70 points for second place, 68 for third, 66 for fourth, so on and so forth. So that big 10-point gulf in scoring between Alan Day and Gianmarco Ercoli could prove to be the turning point in this championship. Ercoli will also be pretty high up the order tomorrow, it's worth noting. So by no means is this championship over, and I think Ercoli rather caught out there by Alan Day going down the main straight. I think Alan Day might be looking to celebrate a little bit here. Perhaps it was a mere miscommunication because he is now stopped on the circuit. Not quite sure what's happening there for Alan Day, but certainly you wouldn't want to be doing a burnout on those Hugia tyres because he needs to use them in tomorrow's race as well. So hopefully Alan Day doesn't drop the clutch and have some fun, because it might cost him in the championship deciding race on Sunday. So I'll run you through the sharp end of the order as we continue to watch Alan Day with a bit of puzzlement as to quite where he's decided to go. Alan Day to the 4, to the win, ahead of Gianmarco Ercoli. Patrick Lemarie scores third place ahead of Giorgio Maggi. Liam Hasemans with a good result there, fifth place for him ahead of Roman Iannetta. Sebastian Bleekemolen in seventh place. Henri Tuamala in eighth ahead of Alexander Graf, who claimed ninth place in the 64 car alongside Mark Goossens in 10th place. Claudio Remigio Capelli eventually 11th place. He started in 10th, fell through the order but climbed back up nicely to P11. Leonardo Colavita in P12 alongside Nicolo Rocca. Massimilian Lanza finishing in 14th place in that one. Meanwhile, Fabrizio Armetta takes 15th. I believe Lanza will move ahead of Armetta in the Legends Championship, the Challenger Trophy. I believe Lanza will move ahead of Armetta with that result. So that could be significant for them. Of course, there were penalties to be applied as well. A 5-second penalty for Bleekemolen. I don't think that has been applied on our timing screens just yet. In fact, it was a 10-second penalty for Bleekemolen, wasn't it? And he will drop quite a way down the order, and that could give Alexander Graf another position, thinking about it. So Alexander Graf could move up to 8th place there. There was also a 5-second penalty to be applied to Frederic Gabillon as well, but Gabillon finishing 19th. That won't really help anybody in regard to the championship. But I believe with Bleekemolen receiving 10 seconds penalty at the very start of the race for improper starting position, that should drop him down as far as... In fact, it'll only drop him down to 8th. It's because there's 15 seconds between Bleekemolen and Alexander Graf. So, yeah, Graf is actually still going to finish in 9th place. Such was the gap between 8th and 9th place. Alexander Graf will actually remain in P9. So my mistake there. I thought that Graf would inherit a position, but that is not the case. You see there that the officials and the cameramen and so on are heading towards Alan Day, since Alan Day decided not to go towards them, and he sits right now on the start-finish line. And I'm just being informed by Reza from the World of EuroNASCAR team that the penalty has been applied on the live timing. Okay, so That does clear things up a little bit for me. I was having a little small brain panic there, but Blake Molan was 5th at the line and dropped down to 7th, of course. So yes, that does make sense. With how spread out the top 10 was, I thought for a minute that the penalties hadn't yet been applied, but they have been. No penalties, no concerns in the world though for this man, Alan Day. Anthony Kumpen and the PK Car Sport team crew are congratulating their man on a victory, and Alan Day we'll be speaking to Andre Viegold just as soon as he's done celebrating.
Hey man, one of 2 races completed. The first part of the mission became a 4-time EuroNASCAR champion. Talk us just through the race.
Yeah, he was there the whole time. He was there the whole time. He was pushing. I knew, and I guess he knew this is about the championship. And that was the battle for a championship. This is how we call it, battle for the championship. I'm still need to catch my breath. That was a tough race, I have to say. Tomorrow, I'm very happy to start on first row. Congratulations to Georgia also for having the pole position, and I don't know who was 3rd, Patrick, I think.
We have to check.
We have to check. Anyway, yeah, I can see the French flag. So congratulations to him, and obviously for Ercole. He pushed me to the limit. And hopefully tomorrow we will be able to finish the job. And me and PK Car Sport can celebrate a bit, but for now we are full focus for tomorrow.
All right, thank you so much. Congratulations, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
To answer Alan Day's question, I believe Captain Blake Molan will be 3rd on the grid with a 129.764. 4th should be Gianmarco Ercole with a 129.858, and then then Patrick Lemery down in 5th. So potentially the front 2 rows for tomorrow will be Maggi alongside Day, and then Blake Molan. Blake Molan, I was right, alongside Coley.
Oh, perfect.
And speaking of Patrick Lemery, Andre Viegold has managed to track him down. Let's have a word. And he finished in 3rd.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'm here with Patrick Lemery. It was a good race for you, right?
Yeah, well, when you're not winning, it can be bad. You know, I'm very happy with the podium, you know, to thank the team. It was a great year. We had a lot of problems, but we qualified well. We had a good race, strong. I was in the middle with 2 guys fighting for the championship. It was never easy. Didn't take the best out of my life, but it was good because there was 2 in the front. I was waiting for something, but I didn't get it, so maybe it's for tomorrow.
It's quite warm here in Croatia to wrestle those cars around the track for that short amount of time, but still I see a lot of sweat. Is it really a physical thing?
Yeah, you forget one thing, I'm the oldest guy on the track, so I'm sweating a little bit more than those young guys. Yeah, no, it's very definitely a physical something that you have to be aware when you jump in a NASCAR. It's very hot, and you know, you get into it, you want to win, you want to perform, so you get so intense, so it's great, but I'm really enjoying it. It was a good race. Good.
Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup.
Merci. Bye-bye.
There you go, great to hear from Patrick Lemery. Good result for him. And imagine we'll try and hear from Gianmarco Ercole as well. And would you believe it, Andre Viegold, serendipitous in his finding of the drivers.
Yeah, Gianmarco Ercole, you were on his back bumper the whole race, but you didn't find a space to attack, right?
Yeah, I start very good, and I'm fast than Alan, but in the moment I can overtake here, the yellow flag answered, I don't try. So it isn't good for the championship, but isn't finished. It's long. Tomorrow we have race 2, and the setup of my car is very fast, and tomorrow is possible reopen all. So I stay soft, and I waiting only tomorrow.
All right, thank you so much. Congratulations. Grazie.
Grazie.
Safe to say that Gianmarco Ercole will have to be fighting from underneath now on Sunday with a 16-point advantage in favour of Alan Day over Gianmarco Ercole. There you see the barbecue, as it were. Vittorio Garelli's 36 not only motorsport machine with that big flame out towards the tail end of the race. Hopefully they can get that car back out there for Sunday, but that was quite a dramatic conclusion to what had been a positive race for Vittorio Garelli. We see a replay of it now. It was a huge fireball beneath the car for Vittorio Garelli, and understand he's all right, but that was a scary moment for sure, and it's going to result in a lot of hard work for the team. And meanwhile, we can catch up with Claudio Remigio Capelli.
I think I have a really, really happy driver here next. You win.
It's a surprise. I thought to be second. Now they said me I'm first, so I'm very happy, very happy. Can you see the smile under the bird?
I see it, definitely. How was the race?
Very fighting, very fighting. One mistake that cost me 5 or 6 position. Then I saw trouble in front and 2 cars go outside, and so I tried to push. Could be one misunderstanding with the spotter let me there. I'm very happy.
All right, thank you.
Race of the year for the position.
Thank you so much. Grazie mille.
Yeah, thank you to you.
There you go, Challenger Trophy win as well as P11 overall makes Claudio Remigio Capelli a very happy man, as it turns out, which is absolutely wonderful to hear. He will be topping that particular podium. Although, according to my timing screens, it would be Henri Tuamala on the top step, so I'm unclear as to quite what's happened there. Tuamala 8th place, to see what happens there. My documentation not quite matching what Andre was saying there. Nonetheless, Alan Day tops the podium here. He takes the first place gong, as it were. He will be on the top step of the podium. He's alongside Ercole and Lemarie. Alan Day taking a huge step here with this win towards a 4th EuroNASCAR title. And we now present the trophies. There is Lemarie. You heard that cheer, didn't you? A cheer of 1. He's clearly a loud man. Patrick Lemarie, he said it himself, he's looking for that win tomorrow. I think he's hoping that it all unfolds in front of him in the championship deciding finale on Sunday. So he's looking to get further up the podium with a win to close out his season. But nonetheless, a podium today is a stonking result. Alan Day, though, has once again proven his class and his ability to perform under pressure. He secures a 16-point lead in the championship decider going into the finale. That gives him a bit of leeway as in regards to what result he can score tomorrow. So there were the scenes as Alan Day took his victory, and the champagne is being sprayed, so drivers are rapidly vacating the scene. Just to say, a great pickup here from Reza, from the media team. He says Patrick Lemarie, 54 years and 265 days. That makes him the oldest podium finisher in EuroNASCAR Pro, beating the record set by Bobby Labonte, beating that record by just over 200 days. So Lemarie, he said, I'm the oldest driver on the grid, but he's clearly still one of the quickest. And he could be challenging for a win again on Sunday. I believe we are having some photos taken on the podium. We do have 2 more podium ceremonies before we leave you for the day, at least in EuroNASCAR Pro. Of course, we still have EuroNASCAR 2 to come later on. But we have the Junior Trophy, which of course Giorgio Maggi managed to take the win over Liam Hazeman. And then we've also got the Challenger Trophy presentation to do as well. And so I believe the juniors making their way up now on the 3rd step. That should be Leonardo Colavita. There he is. 2nd place will go to Liam Hazemans, with brother Loris cheering him on. Liam Hazemans once again showing his speed in EuroNASCAR Pro. Of course, he has a title to fight for alongside Alberto Nasca in the EuroNASCAR 2 race later on. Championships will be decided on Sunday, but that will be a critical day in the EuroNASCAR 2 championship between Nasca and Hazemans. Giorgio Maggi, though, our winner in today's junior race in the EuroNASCAR Pro, and he's on the top step of the podium. We once again see our US representative, Jason Simmons of the NASCAR International Organization, presenting the trophies. And the big trophy now going to Giorgio Maggi with a 4th place overall finish, just ahead of Liam Hazemans on the road. That secures him a junior trophy win, and also more or less secures him as the junior trophy champion as well for this year. I believe, mathematically speaking, Hazemans could still just about do it. However, it's all but confirmed for Giorgio Maggi now. He just needs to see the flag tomorrow and he will have done enough. However, he is also going to be starting on pole position on Sunday, so even though he could just cruise around to make sure he secures the junior gong, I get the feeling he's going to go for a race win. So then we await the next podium, which will be the Challenger Trophy. It will be Max Lanza onto the step of the podium 3rd. There he is now. Of course, he's driving the 88 car, which he will hand over to Alberto Nasca for EuroNASCAR 2 a little later on. 2nd place then going to Claudio Remeggio Capelli. Unfortunately, he was misinformed a little earlier on. He did end up 2nd place behind Henri Tuamala, who did in fact take the Challenger Trophy win. So just a slight error with timing immediately after the race, but it is Henri Tuamala who eventually is confirmed as the Challenger Trophy winner. And well, it's all facial hair at the sharp end, isn't it? We've got the best beard and the best mustache in EuroNASCAR Pro, both on the podium right now. And Max Lanza receiving the 3rd place trophy.
Bravo, Claudio!
Claudio Remeggio Capelli taking 2nd, and a good result to be 11th overall as well. And Henri Tuamala with an 8th place overall result will secure the Challenger Trophy win on this occasion. He's a little outside of the championship hunt, I believe, but he will still be excited with this result, and he'll go into the final race tomorrow in high spirits. And we've seen him challenge for overall top 10s before. We'll see if he can get any further up the order. He's not going to start in the top 10, but we'll see if he can work his way through from a little further down the grid. So then that concludes our broadcast for today. These are the times you need to bear in mind for the rest of the day. In just over an hour and a half at 16:10 Central European Summertime, we will have the EuroNASCAR 2 penultimate race of the season. So make sure you tune into that, because that will be championship implications abound between Alberto Nasca and Liam Hasemans in that race. And then, of course, tomorrow we have the EuroNASCAR 2 decider at 10:10 Central European time. We're going to switch the clocks around overnight. And then at 13:45, we will have the EuroNASCAR Pro season decider. So there are still 3 races to come here from the Automotodrom Grobnik. Make sure you tune in later on this afternoon for EuroNASCAR 2 at 16:10 local time. Bye-bye for now.
When you come to Kvarner, treat yourself to an experience you will remember. Enjoy the luxurious ambience. Experience superior service. Indulge in endless pleasures. The pearl of the tourism offer in the pearl of the Adriatic. Liburnia, Hotels and Villas.